My name is Carlton Cartwright. I'm the Executive Director, Veterans Memorial and Multicultural Histories Incorporated. And today is Thursday, April 13th, 2023. And we're at Riviera Beach Preparatory Achievement Academy, and I have my students with me with all of their hoods off. Tanika, Calviana, with the headset. Savannah, who's been doing nothing but causing all kinds of problems today. Ronisha, Jacoby, Felix, and last but not least, sir, what is your name?
Nicholas Cannon.
Okay, Mr. Cannon, and how old are you?
I'm 29 years old.
Okay, Nick, can you do us a favor and give us well, I'm going to ask you anyway. So, background, what branch of the service were you in?
Absolutely, I was Air Force.
Where were you, why did you choose the Air Force in the first place?
Yeah, so I think it goes back to the last part of my senior year in high school. Actually, the beginning of high school. My brother, he's a couple grades ahead of me, and he was in the Air Force JROTC. At the time, I looked up to my brother, kind of figured, I liked what he was doing with that, and it allowed me to, whenever I got to that point in my life as a freshman, I thought, well, what better option to follow in the footsteps and do the JROTC, because I thought the military was awesome and cool, like many other kids, playing video games, playing Call of Duty. What better thing to do than do something that could kind of reminisce of that type of lifestyle. So joined the ROTC, junior ROTC, did it for a couple semesters, got out of it a bit, and the end of my high school tenure, I didn't get into college. My dad made it pretty clear that if it wasn't college, it was going to be the military. I lived pretty much by myself throughout the last 2 years of high school, so I thought it was a good step to finally figure out where I belonged, in a community that I kind of lacked growing up with. So decided the Air Force, because the JROTC experience would be the best one, because I figured I'd have a bit of knowledge about it. So kind of just went into a recruiter's office and said, hey, I didn't get into college, not because of my grades, well, probably didn't help at all, but I applied too late. So I was kind of put in a position where it was either one way or the other. And if college wasn't going to take me at the time, well, I knew that the military would, so Air Force was the next best bet.
Okay. And what were you doing before you went into the service, military?
I just graduated high school. I was working for my father for a bit, doing some here's and outs. Took a brief stint at a retirement home cleaning dishes. Pea soup all over your hands and all over your face at certain times is not the best way to enjoy your youth. So I got out of that, went back to working with family. But again, after I realized that my time graduating, it came, and I needed some sort of direction in my life, so the military gave me that outlet.
Nice, very nice. Okay, so where did you go to basic training?
Yeah, basic training was in San Antonio, Texas. It was my ship out date was January 15, 2013. So Texas, believe it or not, gets actually really, really cold. You think it's like Florida, but it gets pretty brisk up there.
Altitude.
Yeah, the whole shebang.
And we're below sea level here.
Yeah. It was cold. It was
Right.
very, very cold.
Okay. After how long were you in tech school?
So basic training was 8.5 weeks at the time. I know it goes back and forth depending on what year you go. It was 8.5 weeks, which led me to graduate in March 15th. And then after that, I was put in Wichita Falls, Texas, which I don't think anybody really knows what that place is. It's a little crop-looking town with the tumbleweeds going by here and there. So it's a lot different than here. But it was a place that they put me in. Tech school there was about 6 or 7 months. I was slotted as a tactical aircraft maintainer. So Top Gun, the movie, planes like that were the ones that they tasked me to work on and maintain.
16s, 18s,
F-22s.
Oh, F-22s.
F-22s
Wow.
was slotted. That was the job that I got. Growing up, I wasn't much of a mechanic. I played basketball in high school as a hooper. When I first started talking to the recruiter, and after I took the ASVAB, they gave me a whole bunch of options, and tactical aircraft maintenance was one of them. I figured that I have no idea how to be, you know, a mechanic, and the military is going to teach me to do something. So what better option to do than join the military and have them teach me skills that I could use on the outside world. So sure enough, I slotted in as open mechanical. They shipped me away, boot camp in Wichita Falls, Texas, where I finished out the F-22 crew chief school. And then after that, we were placed in Panama City for a little bit of joint training, on-the-job training in Panama City for a couple of weeks to get hands-on experience on F-22s before we got tasked to our operational bases.
Okay. So where was your first duty station?
Yeah, so it's almost the first and the last duty station for me. Being a F-22 crew chief is a little bit different than a lot of people kind of understand. You're obviously a mechanic on aircraft, but for the F-22, it's very specific to stateside bases. So unlike many other branches where you can travel to the Army, or to Germany or Japan or Korea or all these great fascinating places, the life of an F-22 crew chief, you only have 5 base options, and they were all stateside. You have Alaska, you have Nevada, Virginia, at the time New Mexico, and Florida and Hawaii. So not too many, and then shortly after I joined in, they got rid of the New Mexican base, and the squadron, which was all operational, and they were all, you know, fully capable of fighting bad guys. That squadron came down the street from the squadron that I was placed in, which was a training unit. So what would happen is after the pilots that flew aircraft, the Top Gun pilots that you see, you know, in the movies, when they become pilots at that degree, they have to start somewhere, which is small little prop planes. The prop planes, after they graduate from the prop planes, they go to a smaller type of fighter jet. And then once they graduate from that fighter jet, they go to an F-22 or whatever, you know, aircraft they're going to fight bad guys with. So for F-22 training pilots, they would come fly our F-22s that we took care of. So again, this was not a deployable unit, as you know, unfortunate that might be. Yeah, it was a training unit for pretty much my tenure of my military career.
Okay, and so I apologize. What did I miss? What base were you at?
Panama City, Tyndall Air Force Base.
And you were there for how long?
About, say, 5.5 years.
So you were there the entire
10 years.
Okay. And
Yeah.
were you doing any reserve time afterwards?
No, just the inactive reserve that everybody does whenever they get out. But it was pretty short and simple and sweet type of job. I knew pretty quickly that as well as I could maintain an F-22, being a mechanic was definitely not part of the career path.
Okay.
Yeah.
While you were in the service, besides the places you've already mentioned, I don't care whether it's TDY or R&R, it doesn't matter, where are the places that you traveled?
Yeah, so we would go to Savannah, Georgia often. That was part of our training, to where we would take our planes and the pilots that we were training to Savannah, Georgia, where they would go fight against other types of airframes, F-16s, F-15s, F-35s, A-10s, all the way to F-35s and MiGs and whatnot. So we would take them up there to Savannah, Georgia about twice a year.
You say you take them up there. How?
We would have our pilots fly over there, and then we'd get on a bus and go the enlisted way.
Not even, they wouldn't even give you a C-130?
No. Yeah. So it's a good old 6-hour drive.
Wouldn't even give you a ride, okay.
Yeah, part of the process. So that was a very common thing. That was the highlights of our year for those TDYs. In addition to the Savannah trip, every other couple years we would go to New Orleans and to a naval base out there, do the same type of mission, training with other types of airframes, other types of branches of the military, Marines, and Navy. So New Orleans was those were 2 weeks at a time TDYs, and then there was one special TDY which we actually went to Top Gun. So the movie Top Gun that we all got to see it.
Where was that?
So the original Top Gun started in Cali. It was whatever base is out there. But after a couple of years, they transferred it to Fallon, New Mexico, which is at what base is that? Fallon, yeah, something like that. But they swapped it out, so we went there. And it was incredible. It was the first time where I actually got to see, you know, the world's best of the best, and to watching our F-22s along with the 95th F-22s was pretty special moment.
Okay. Oh, by the way, what was your rank when you separated?
Staff Sergeant, E5.
E5. And what year did you go in?
I went in 2013 and got out in 2019.
Okay,
January.
cool.
Mm-hmm.
While you were in the service, did you have any problems staying in touch with your family?
No, I mean, after boot camp, you kind of get all hands, access to anybody and everybody that you want to with phones, and you can kind
So
of.
like a 9 to 5 job, huh?
Yeah, pretty much like a 9 to 5 job. It was actually kind of surreal to figure out, you're finally in the military, and yet you have this. Maintenance is a different world when it comes to the Air Force. Most jobs in the Air Force are typically 9 to 5 jobs, with the
Right.
exceptions, in my opinion, maintenance and security forces. Those two.
Those are 24 hours.
Yeah, it's always something, because we are the mission, and everybody else kind of supports it. Which every job has their own respected, respects, but it all goes down to putting pilots in the sky to fight bad guys.
Okay. How was the food in the service?
Not bad. It was all right. It is what it is. I mean, I think I don't know. It is what it was. I know in boot camp we kind of look forward to. It was grilled cheese Sundays. Boot camp, the days are long, but the weeks are short. I think anybody can say that when you kind of look back and reflect on your time. But it was those little things that kind of got you through your entire career, as difficult as it can be. There's just some sort of simple thing that kind of puts everything in perspective.
Casualties. Any casualties throughout the time that you spent on active duty, from basic training to tech school to your duty base?
We had a few, some mental issues. Like today, it's a common problem that I feel is definitely not addressed the way it should be. It seems like the issues keep happening, and it's just time and time again, the leadership just wants to put Band-Aids on it for the problem just to go away for a minute until the problem just comes back. Because it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen, and it's a shame. Throughout my time as being a crew chief on F-22s, I was able to be part of the Tyndall Air Force Base Honor Guard. It came into my life in a great time, because I needed that perspective, because being in a training unit and not being able to deploy and do all of these things and feel as if you matter, having that outlet to actually do and see the good that you're doing, helped kind of shape the person that I am today. Being part of Honor Guard, you were responsible doing and rendering military honors for fallen veterans, retirees, active duty military, as well as change of commands, retirement ceremonies, parades, and whatnot. The majority of our time in Honor Guard, I think I spent about 1.5 years doing it. It was a lot of veteran, funerals, flag folding, and whatnot. And towards I think it was about the middle of my time doing it, we had an active duty death. And when you have an active duty death in the military, you have all hands on deck. It's a surreal moment, because it kind of puts everything in perspective. So whenever we got notified that there was an active duty death on our base, every individual that was part of the base honor guard got activated, and we all came together. It was a beautiful moment to see. It was a beautiful moment in such tragedy to see so many people from all walks of military life, whether you're a chef or a crew chief or an avionics maintainer or security forces. It doesn't matter what the job was or anything else. It was just about coming together in that time for that one individual. So sure enough, for I think it was probably 4 straight days, making sure everybody was perfectly capable and prepared to render the most professional and respectful and honorable military bearing and respects that we could give for the funeral.
Gotcha. Tanika, you had a question?
Yeah, I have a question. What do you recommend for somebody who wants to go to the military right after high school?
Have you considered college?
Yes.
And I ask you this because you have options. Don't ever let anybody tell you that you don't have options, because you always have options. No matter if your back's against the wall, no matter if the whole world's telling you don't, you do truly have options. When I was your guys' age, a little bit older, when I was in that position where I thought I didn't have any options, where I was like, oh my gosh, I got denied to Florida Gulf Coast. Everyone knows Florida Gulf Coast. I got denied because I didn't apply in time. I didn't know that. I lived by myself in high school during those very, very pivotal years where you have parents and teachers that you would think would look out for you. Unfortunately, that didn't happen for me. So when that time came to where, hey, it's either college or the military, I felt like as if I had no other options. In retrospect, if I look back, there are other options like private schools, or hey, just wait another 2 weeks and reapply again, you'll get back into school. But unfortunately, in my mind, I thought I didn't have any option. That enlisting at the time was that only one. So, if and when you do want to enlist, enlisting in the military is a fantastic. It's a great opportunity. People don't understand the rewards and benefits that you do get. When you look at a 4-year enlistment, you might think, oh my gosh, that's the longest time in my life. It goes by like quick. You guys are probably thinking in your mind, oh my God, you guys are, 4 years from now, it's gonna be forever from now. No, it's not. The days are long, but the years are fast. It is absolutely unreal. And I'll tell you some of the benefits that you get for after you serve your military time. While you sign up for the military, they're gonna give you a paycheck. They're gonna give you food in your belly. They're gonna give you a sense of community. If you feel lost out here, walking in the playground or the streets or anything, and you feel as if you don't belong something, it'll give you that outlet to feel as if you do, and you truly do, because it doesn't matter the skin color, the religion, anything. You belong. You truly belong. We're all brothers and sisters. Him and I just met. Mr. Cartwright met a couple days ago, and just because we both served, we're brothers. So it's a beautiful thing. And to go back, whenever you join, you automatically get a paycheck and you get a place to live. They also give you options to pay for your schooling. So if you want to go become a doctor, they'll pay for it. They'll do all of these things. You just have to make sure you show up to work and try your best in the military. They'll help shape you into leaders and make you guys they'll just better you in so many different ways. And you can do it for 4 years, get out, and then go to school. They'll pay for all your schooling, and then get whatever job you want to. Or if you want to continue your career in the military, you can. People love it. It's just, sometimes it can get a stigma on you, but the military is an option that you guys can use to your advantage in absolutely every single way. In the world that we live in, we need every advantage we can get. We have to fight for that because there are no handouts. There are not, and there shouldn't be handouts. We have to fight for everything that we get because, one, we all deserve it, and we all can get there. And the military is the perfect option. And whether you want to plan it, there's options. Just know that. So there's a lot of options. I hope that answered that a bit. Thank you.
Okay. Have you held on to any of your, what did you do after the service?
Yeah, so I separated in my date of separation was 2019, but terminal leave got me out a little bit earlier than that. I enrolled in Florida Atlantic University, moved to Boca, and while I was waiting for those classes to start, I wanted to get involved in politics. I thought that politicians in a perfect world were the best people to help other people because that's what they're there for. They get elected to then turn around and help all of us. So I enjoyed helping other people. I thought fighting for my country in the Air Force was a great way to start that. But me being a crew chief, I couldn't continue being a crew chief because that's not where my heart was. So I decided to separate and figure out another way to give back to all of us. So I went to a political kind of party one night whenever I was on terminal leave, and I met a couple people and made some good contacts, and it was with a legislative aide for State Senator Gail Harrell. The individual's name is Karen Sweeney. She became a dear friend of mine, and I knew that she was obviously in the political world. So when I moved to Boca and I was waiting for those classes to start, I didn't know what to do. So I reached out to her and I said, hey Karen, do you know any campaigns that need help? So she's like, yeah, absolutely. She gave me a name, so I called them. I was like, hey, my name's Nicholas Cannon. I want to get in politics. I want to help. How can I help you? I said, hey, come on in. Let's talk. So we go in, we talk for a second. They're like, hey, Nick, these are the last 10 days on a general primary, which at that point, the campaign is at the point where it's about to, explode, and it's just a surreal type of moment because you have 10 days left until, the final day happens, the election happens. So I volunteered to go knock on doors or make calls, and they told me, thank you. They hired me on the spot, and 10 days later, on election night, we won the campaign, and I got hired on as a legislative aide by Representative Mike Caruso. So that started, my political journey, which is, almost led me here.
Cool. Okay. Where were you when you separated?
Excuse me?
Where were you? I mean, okay, so you did you know what you wanted to do when you separated from the service?
No, absolutely
You did
not. I knew that I wanted to go to school and I wanted to move back to South Florida to finish and start out this new chapter of my life because no matter what anybody tells you, your job's going to end one day and your military career is going to end one day. And when I realized that I didn't want to continue pursuing it, I wanted to start my next chapter in my life as early as possible. So by June of 2018, I was already making plans, ready to get the ball rolling on the next chapter.
Did you use your GI Bill for anything?
Absolutely.
For what?
I used it for a bachelor's degree in business management, along with my associate's degree, and I still have my GI Bill left over too. And to give you another explanation of why the military is a great option, after you separate from the military, you qualify for the GI Bill. Everybody has an issue with student debt, where it cripples you growing up, and you'll spend your 20s and 30s and 40s and 50s paying back this student debt loan. Well, why have a loan? You can serve 4 years in the military honorably, get out, qualify for the GI Bill, and when you guys get out, they'll pay for your school. I was paid, $1,000 a month to go to school. Like, I don't know what better future somebody could have than, one, not having any debt, but two, being paid to go to school to make you guys better individuals. So you might have to get 4 years up, which I think it's a great investment. No matter what, it's a great investment in yourself.
Well, it's not so much giving it up if you get paid and
Absolutely.
all of your the things that you need for yourself, like medical or dental or housing and food, are taken care of.
Absolutely.
Plus you get a paycheck.
Yep, it's a one-stop shop, and you get to meet the incredible people.
Right.
I love serving my country. I did not love my job, but I love the people that I worked with. People are everything.
Do you maintain any close friendships after the military?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Many of them.
Nice.
It doesn't matter, as you start building this community and all these relationships with people in the military is a small place. It might seem big. We might have people all over the world, but you're no more than, a couple people away from finding somebody that you never thought you'd see again, whether it's from basic training or tech school or anywhere else.
How did you get along with enlisted as well as officers?
Great. It was
Personnel.
fantastic. We were hand in hand. It was the enlisted, maintaining the aircraft, and the pilots walking up, us taking the bags, giving them when they take off and go do great things and come back, and we'd send them on their way, and then we'd fix all their mistakes. So there was no bridge, in my opinion. Obviously they're officers, but you have to be close with the people flying your aircraft and close with the people that are maintaining your aircraft, because it's a very vulnerable type of situation.
Going into the future, especially since we have 6 of our students in the room here, what do you see, and also what kind of advice do you have going into the future? How do you feel about educational? You shared some of this. I just wanted to fully cover or see if you had any more comments as far as education and being at a young age and looking forward at the future.
Absolutely. No matter what we think about education has a place in the world. We might personally not want to get a degree in business or a degree in art or a degree in anything else, but the world looks at education as a check mark and as a placeholder for what we are as individuals. So no matter what we think is math isn't as important. I remember sitting in algebra class. Well, what am I doing algebra? How is that going to affect me? To this day, I've never used algebra. I can't do simple math and division or anything like that. That's just the reality of it, because we all have phones, right? But the outside world and these employers that you guys are going to have to be attracted to, or you guys are going to be attractable to, these people that want to hire you, that's what they look at. So once we get good jobs, education is a check mark. I got my degree not because I wanted it, but because it was a check mark. Because if I didn't have my degree, then the guy that's sitting next to me that wants the same job, or the girl that's sitting next to me that wants the same job, they have their degree, well, they're going to get picked no matter what. So education is a resource and a tool that makes us better individuals. So at this point in your lives, I was there too, to where, it's just math or it's just science, or but there's going to be a point in time where you're going to be put up against somebody else, and you want to be the most prepared individuals that you can, because you guys deserve it. And you have to work for it. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. But this point in your life, to where if you can hear this what I'm telling you guys, and you can kind of understand it, this will be the moment to where it'll help shape the next 20, 30 years of your life. Because education is always going to be there. So you can either start working on it now and slowly start chipping away. Then by the time you guys are 25, there's no degree, there's no GED, there's no diploma, and you still have to get it. Because those requirements aren't going to go anywhere. But today, these moments right now, you guys have the tools and the opportunity and great instructors and teachers around you to help you and build you guys up. So start putting in the work now. That way, in 10 years, you guys are all set. To where whenever you see that requirement for education, like, dude, I've been doing this for freaking years now. I'm good. This is easy. And then you look around to the next guy, and it's like, man, all this work led into this one moment. And that type of mentality should be able to boost you guys up, amongst your peers, because you guys are fighting in a world to where we have to fight. We have to fight, and we have to fight for each other, most importantly. But we have to fight for what we believe in. Education, safety, healthcare, and all that stuff is what we believe in, because it's your guys' future. I have a 1-year-old daughter, and every single day I fight for her. And I'll fight for you guys, because you guys deserve it. I promise you that.
Anybody else have any more questions?
What is your salary per year?
Oh my goodness.
What?
Yeah, that's a touchy subject, huh? So I have a couple salaries. I'm not going to say the numbers, but we'll tie back to the military compensation. So you get paid, obviously, through your time of service. And once you get out of the military, you go through an exam. And it's an exam to where you pretty much tell people, or tell the doctor, saying, hey, during my time in the military, I hurt my knee, I hurt my elbow, I hurt my head. And they evaluate you based off of those injuries, and then the VA, the Veterans Affairs Hospital, and the Veterans Administration, they will make a decision on a compensation, which will be money that goes back into your pocket. So I have, for the rest of my life, a monthly income check of a certain amount of money. That's very, very fortunate. But because of my time in the service and what happened, for the rest of my life, I will get a paycheck no matter what happens to me. So that's one, and then obviously, my job through Congress is another paycheck. So there's so many benefits of joining the military, that is a option in case anybody needs to do it.
So the retirement money gonna be good?
Yeah, it's not gonna hurt. It's not gonna hurt. Yeah, and yeah, we need every penny, and it's not gonna hurt. Absolutely.
Okay, if you guys have any more questions, just keep thinking. I've got okay, so did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
Not so much war. Like any organization, you can have bad leaders. You can have bad supervisors, bad managers. The military is a type of organization where they hire individual, or excuse me, where people sign up and they join, and then throughout time specifically, and or certain boards or tests, they can get promoted to certain ranks, which will then make them superior to you. It was very, very clear that a lot of individuals had rank but should not be in charge of people. The rank on your shoulder or the position in a job or a title in a job does not make you a leader. You might be the one dictating and demanding people to do things, but that does not make you a leader. I'm sure all of us have had a bad teacher or two that was responsible for you guys, but the leadership was not where it should be. And the military is no exception for that. So what was clear to me was to take care of your people, because taking care of your people was the most important thing in my mind. But if and when that time came to where you had to ask individuals to do things that were difficult, or hard or strenuous, or work 12 or 16 or 24 hours, they would do it because the relationship that you had with them, and you were truly great leaders. So taking care of the people first, the mission will always be taken care of.
Nice. How did your service and experiences affect your life?
Oh my gosh, I mean,
What's the impact?
it gave me a place to start from scratch, and it allowed me to dictate my own path and make me my own person without any other, pretty much any other influence. Whether it paid for my college education, whether it paid for my health care for the rest of my life, it also helped support my daughter. The military is a constant, because it'll always have an impact on my life, to this day.
Is there anything that you feel like anything else you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, I'll leave with this. We're all going to go through tough times, no matter what. We're all going to go through tough times. No matter what those tough times are, you know, the 99% is going to be a temporary tough time, and you guys are going to be able to get through it no matter what. Find the good in everything, because there's a lot of bad out there, and if we can focus on the good, it'll help, you know, keep our mind in the right place to where, you know, this is just a temporary thing. Boot camp was tough. You know, you see the movies and you see, you know, you hear, you know, the bad things and how hard it is. But the one phrase that kept me going through it was, this is only temporary. 8.5 weeks is only temporary. 4 years is only temporary. 20 is only temporary. But we continue to keep making ourselves better and utilizing the resources that we have. That way we can be the best individuals that we can. So when you guys are having difficult days, or difficult weeks, difficult months, look for the good. Look for the good, and look for the good in people, and look for the good in us, and try to take care of each other. Because at the end, it's all about all of us, and always will be.
Anybody have any more questions?
Is your wife's salary good too?
I'm not married. No.
Oh.
Yeah, no, you're good. No,
Okay.
good. Maybe someday, though. We'll see.
Inquisitive minds.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want to thank you for a great interview, and I also want to thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate yours.
Absolutely. Let me get that group shot.